Hello everybody, I am the Worm and welcome to Metaphor ReFantazio. At least I think that's how it's pronounced. ReFantazio, maybe? I want to say ReFantazio because that sounds like Fantasia, so... but I'm open to being corrected. Also, hi, it's been quite a while since I've made a recording, since I've started a new playthrough for this channel. And I'm actually quite excited to start something again. So we're going to go ahead and get into this in a little bit. I would like to take some time to talk about what I've been up to and also my background with this game. So if you're interested in that, feel free to stick around. Otherwise, you can go ahead to scroll ahead to when we play the first cutscene. Because there is a cutscene that plays before you get to this menu, and it's definitely, it seems to me to be very important as to the initial story setup. So if you're just interested in that, go ahead, scroll up there, and I'll meet you there. Otherwise, I do want to say a few things regarding myself, this game, and sort of how I'm going to be doing things, at least for the foreseeable future. That sounds a bit too much. At least for this prologue demo, I'll say that much. So yeah, where have I been? Well, unfortunately, the fact of the matter is I seem to have simply kind of burned myself out on making YouTube videos. I'd gotten to a point where I had finished my previous playthrough, which is Danganronpa V3, and I was left with nothing on the horizon that really sparked my interest. I couldn't find myself being excited for anything in particular, any particular visual novel. And that, plus, when I initially started making Let's Plays, I started, if you could believe it, recording every day, and that did not last long. I ended up doing recording every other day, and turns out that that really, over time, diminished my motivation to continue doing this. So, with my motivation dimming and nothing that grabbed my attention, it just led me to just not wanting to do it anymore. So that's kind of where I've been. Now, interestingly enough, getting to the discussing about this game in particular, I had, throughout several of my Let's Plays, asked for recommendations on what to do. And one game series that has popped up more than once was the Persona series. And, you know, I was feeling a bit intimidated, to be honest with you. Persona's been a long-running series. It's in a genre I'm not familiar with, the JRPG. And I was feeling like, and I don't know if this is a silly thing to feel or not, but almost like I missed the boat, or I missed the train, you know, and I also felt like, oh, what if I play one of them? Am I gonna feel obligated to play the rest? I'm not sure I want to devote that amount of time to what I'm pretty sure are very long games. So I was very ambivalent about that kind of recommendation. But then, suddenly, at least suddenly for me, because I wasn't really following the news, this game came out. Metaphor ReFantazio. And it's by the same people, at least I'm pretty sure it is. And it's the same genre, but it's its own thing. So, suddenly, that seemed to me to be an opportunity where I don't really need to be, or at least, I don't think I need to be familiar with the Persona series. And I think there's another series. What is it called? I know they have another long-running series, but I can't remember what it's called. But I think it's a similar. I think it's the same genre as both this game and Persona, but I can't remember what it is. But anyway, that's another long-running series that I didn't really want to get into. But yeah, and as I mentioned, I've been hearing a lot of positive. The reviews have been almost universally positive, and just people have been saying it's taken a lot of the best things about all their previous games and put it together. You know, it sounds, you know, too good to be true almost, that I can just jump into this and get acquainted with him. So that's certainly exciting. And what led me to another big reason why I wanted to jump into this is because, as you can see here, we have a free prologue demo, which is great because it's a, what is it now, a $69.99 game, $70. I think this would be the first, if I did buy this, it would be the first $70 game I bought, I think. Is that true? That might be true, but I'm glad I get to try this before going all in. And that is a caveat that I'm going to have here. I'm going to play through this prologue demo, that's for sure. And when I get to the end of it, we will, it's one of those we'll cross that bridge when we get to it sort of deals. If I find myself enthralled with this, then we're going to go ahead and continue on with it, because that is an option. I think the save carries over. And if I don't, then you know, I won't have really lost anything. So that's good. One thing I will say is, in order to combat my previous burnout that I experienced following my last Let's Play, I am going to be changing the frequency of uploads. So, what I will promise is at least one episode a week. And I know that's quite a downsizing of what I have done previously, but I honestly think it's going to be for the best for me. You know, this is recording and uploading videos. It's meant to be something fun for me, and if the way I do it leads to it no longer being fun, then what's the point? I mean, what I've enjoyed in the past is being able to just discuss my thoughts aloud while playing it, and so I do value that. So making sure I don't get sick of it, I think that's pretty important. Now, I did say at least one episode because I do want to leave open for the possibility that if I have the time and inclination, maybe I can do an extra episode. But I'm not going to promise that. I'm just going to say at least one per week, and I want to stick with that, at least for the time being. Yeah. So, I already talked about this game a little bit, but again, my understanding, it's a JRPG. It's a fantasy-looking game, although looking at the backgrounds here, I'm not I'm not sure. There does seem to be machinery of some kind, so I don't precisely know what we're dealing with. But yeah, I'm just open. I'm just ready to dive into something new, and getting to hopefully get immersed into it. So, yes, I think we're ready to start this. And I believe if we wait here for a little while, it should go into the opening cutscene. And we'll watch it together, and then I'm going to talk about it a little bit, because there's some... the game hasn't even started, and there's some pretty interesting things just in that opening cutscene. Okay. Alright, well, I'm gonna go ahead and then let's wait for it to start. Okay, here we go. Okay, we'll have to go past a few of these opening credits.
I trust this will suffice.
God smiles upon the generous.
Oh, away with you! Back to your cesspit, beggar! A land grotesque as its people. You dreamt of utopia. You saw the tribes united as one.
Oh.
That dream died long ago. You should have done the same. Your kingdom will perish alongside you. By my hand.
I cannot fathom it. His Majesty killed in his own bed.
The blooms upon the prince's grave had yet to wilt. Without an heir to wear the crown, what will become of the royal magic?
Thus vulnerable, an invasion might undo us.
From within or without, the state hangs on a precipice. It may even come to civil war.
In dark times, we must stand together.
Your Eminence!
Who could do this? Few could even enter the king's chambers, let alone draw close. And yet
His Majesty's arcane power could deflect near any blade. With all the royal bloodline's magic, who could harm him at all?
shadows stir in the castle just as they did with the prince. What hellbound soul could end a royal life? Who would dare such atrocity? Huh?
Luis.
A shame to die with no heirs. The prince was taken too soon. And only a king may wield the royal scepter, the very crux of his vaunted bloodline's magic, which made such a fine deterrent to war. One has to ask, them dead, who shall take the throne?
Here begins the demo prologue of Metaphor ReFantazio.
Alright, oh boy. Oh boy, we're just starting, and yet we have regicide. I will say, as I mentioned earlier, I've not played any of the Persona games, but I have, just through seeing some things online, I do know that the various Persona games, I believe all of them take place in a kind of school setting, in particular a Japanese school setting. So, you know, that's, it's not like I have anything against that kind of setting, but it's not like, I'm not particularly that interested in it either. But I will say, as someone who has quite a few hours of the Crusader Kings series under my belt, opening your story with some regicide, that is certainly enough to get me immediately interested. And yeah, so we have quite a sinister figure in Luis there. Although, I guess it depends on your opinion on monarchy in general, huh? On whether or not you're opposed to regicide. But certainly we did hear a lot more than it's not as clear cut as what you may think about monarchy. There's so there's a kingdom, but it seems that it's not any kind of arbitrary system. Apparently, the royal bloodline has specific power that it's part and parcel of the bloodline. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot for us to learn when we get in there. And there do appear to be a lot of different species or races there. There were winged people. There were people had sort of the pointy elf ears. There were people with horns. This Luis character mentioned the various tribes. There does appear to be a lot going on here. There are threats. Both the cool-looking armored guy, he mentioned a threat of civil war, and another guy mentioned that we might be attacked from outside the kingdom. So, yes, it seems that we are being primed for just everything going crazy all at once. And, you know, what better setting for a grand adventure to take place in, right? Yeah. So let's do this. Let's get in here. I will say, I feel like I've seen some people mention how it's called metaphor, right? So I'm not sure exactly how to take that title just yet. At least on my first playthrough here, I feel like I'm just going to be taking things at face value. And I feel like if there's going to be any sort of deep metaphors here, I'd have to sort of look at it in retrospect or something, unless it's obvious. But yeah, so I'm just interested to getting into this. So let's stop stalling now and actually do this thing.
Who's there? I can feel you watching me from a place beyond my sight.
Well, I don't know, Scheming Man. Hang on, let me check. Okay. It has been a while since I've recorded anything. Many months, in fact, so I'm just making sure I did actually hit the record button. That is good. Scheming Man, and I'm seeing what look like skyscrapers here. So, and those are, okay, on the right there, those are vehicles. So certainly that seems less fantastical.
Whoever you are, please tell me. Does our world pique your interest?
Yes.
Pardon my curiosity, but would you tell me your name? That is to say, tell me who you really are. The one who meets my eyes across a strange threshold.
Well. Okay. I am the Worm. Nice to meet you. Yeah, I think that's it. Your name is indeed the Worm. You will name the protagonist later. That's interesting. So we're already a bit of a fourth wall interaction here, separating me, the player, from the protagonist.
Ah, a most unusual name. One I've never heard in our world. Which suggests to me you might reside in a world beyond ours. It is a curious thing that in your eyes, my entire world is but the dawn of a story yet untold. Or to put it another way, this is a fantasy. But can it truly be dismissed as something so far removed from you? If indeed you wish to cross to our world for a time, I would first ask that you indulge one question. Is fantasy limited to the confines of imagination? Would you call it a powerless creation?
Is fantasy limited to the confines of imagination? Would you call it a powerless creation? I'm gonna say not always. When you say fantasy, though, Okay, hang on, I got log here. That's nice. Yeah, I'll say not always.
More than wishful thinking, more than fiction. Something capable of affecting the realities beyond its bounds.
I feel like that's the answer that they wanted to hear.
This must be what you believe. I confess, my own answer still eludes me. But consider, if fantasy is born from hope, a desire to make the world better than it is, then that hope can be made manifest. Thus does change come, and thus is fantasy forged into a new reality.
Well, scheming man, it sounds like you've answered your own question there.
Perhaps the story about to unfold before you will tell us. I'm thoroughly invested now myself, so let this tale begin.
So is this background meant to depict our world instead of this world, or the world of the game? Oh my goodness. Okay, let's see. Focus purely on story. On a breeze, standard, hard, regicide. Aha, haha, appropriate. Difficulty can be changed. You know, let's. I'm not familiar with this genre. So let's go ahead and just start on normal. It says the standard difficulty, so I'm willing to give it a shot.
Looks like we're in the clear. The capital's just through this desert.
Is it true then? The king is dead? Aye, and the guards are more concerned with the funeral than keeping the roads safe. So now the monsters are roaming in broad daylight. No soldiers to stop them.
Monsters, huh? I've certainly been hearing the stories.
To say nothing of the vacant throne. There's a storm coming. Mark my words. That much is certain.
What's the problem?
They're bandits!
Come on, let's see some respect for the militia! Us folk, we're commoners. No crown or church will save us.
But Lord Luis will save us one and all. All we ask is a little tribute. You're with us or against us? And if you're against us...
An igniter? How'd they get one of those?
Come on, hey, keep it moving. Hurry it up. Next one. Huh? Look at you. What have we got here? He's an elder. So he is. No horns, no knife. Filthy gremlin like you. What you got in the capital? Oh, what's this? Looks like you've been holding out on us, boy. Hold it! should have listened to us, chum. Now fall in line! Let's want to get stuck like us.
You drew steel. I take it you are prepared to die by it.
Stand aside!
Oh, okay. And thus our story ended before it began. Oh, no, we're good.
Ugh, this place already feels like a death trap. You hear all that stuff about Lord Louis saving us?
Hello, Gallica? Gallica? Galisa? Yes, that Lord Luis is he was already sinister, and now we're given more reason not to like him if he's in some way in charge or supporting of banditry.
Hey, you okay? You still got all your limbs attached?
As far as I can tell.
Well, at least they didn't figure out our mission. Definitely could have gone worse.
Ooh, we have a mission. What, do we have amnesia or something? Yes, tell me what mission, please.
What mission?
Come on. This is no time for jokes. You do know that if anyone finds out who we really are, it's all over, right? The mission's more important than either of our lives. If we screw this up, there's no going back.
Interesting. So, what does that say? Tradia Desert?
Think we'll make it?
You don't look hurt though. So that's good news. You can move, right? Need to find a place to find or to see the whole area. Okay. It did automatically give me sort of controller, or you know, it gave me the buttons for a controller, so that's what I'm using.
Let's go.
Oh my, look at this. Okay. Well, certainly that elf lady was cool.
Stop!
Oh. Oh my goodness, that...
Watch out!
I just kind of wanted to get my bearings, and we're already facing nightmare, something out of a nightmare. Use Phasight lets you see what Gallica sees.
Okay.
What do your elf eyes see?
We gotta be careful.
Water's Day afternoon. 31 degrees Celsius. So dash is a toggle, looks like. Okay, I'm still getting my bearings here. So we are in Elda, is what that guy says. And he said that because we don't have horns or elf ears. So, I mean, that sounds just like a normal person, but we don't know that, at least, you know, from my perspective, from our perspective, but I'm not entirely sure if that is the same as in this world. We do have heterochromia, as any good anime protagonist should, along with blue-colored hair, of course. But yeah, for whatever reason, apparently Elda are not good news, or at least from the bandits' perspective. What was it? Oh, that's a roll. X attack. So I thought this game was a turn-based thing, but we have dodge rolls and attacks. Okay, so let's actually look around here. We got, what are those? Wolves, hyenas? We have worms.
Careful now.
And then what in the world is that thing? Like a manticore or something? Reach the royal capital, get to higher ground. That's the objective. Well, higher ground over here maybe?
Hurry!
Okay.
They found us. Get ready, everyone.
It's just me here. Well, this is not good. I'm not sure if I should be looking to loot anything or... This is very frightening.
They look pretty tough. Careful now.
Yeah, no kidding. Alright. This looks good.
Look.
Oh my. A reverse pyramid.
Just checking, but you do remember what we're here to do, right?
Nope. Nope, I have no idea, but someone should go tell those people their pyramid's upside down. It just, I mean, that just looks silly.
Right. What am I doing again?
I also noticed we have a, what is that called? A gorget on our neck there? Is that what that's called? And we have a headband, but it looks fancy. Like, I could imagine he could lower that headband over his eyes and it actually is some kind of Magitech thingamajig.
Oh, I don't know. The mission that's more important than our own lives?
Look, Galaga, I just started the game. You're gonna have to level with me here.
First, we get to the royal capital and get you enlisted as a guardsman at the army's recruitment center. This could decide the fate of the whole country. We either do our jobs or we die.
Well, that's simple enough.
And if it's all the same to you, I'd rather stay alive. So we've got to see this mission through.
She also has a headband.
Come on. We don't want the sun to go down on us in the wastes. Let's pull ourselves together and get back on the road. You know what they say. Anxiety breeds the world's cruelest monsters. I mean, fairies say that at least. I can at least cast my usual spell for you. It's the small comforts, right?
Right.
As though music is playing directly in my mind. The effect of Galaka's... Oh my goodness. Okay, so giving an in-game reason why we hear music? That's kind of fun.
Music was the first magic this world ever knew, after all. Makes the road a little easier.
Music is magic? How very Lord of the Rings of you.
Look! Over there!
Grand Trad is already in sight.
Let's go. Got a sec?
This feels almost like it's, not that I've played them, but some of the sounds and the way we're supposed to be stealthy, it reminds me of almost like Metal Gear Solid or something. So another interesting thing, all the rest of our passengers, was the ferry being hidden? Are ferries unusual or something in this world? Something to keep in mind, I guess. And yeah, it's interesting that it's not the hair or the heterochromia, it was the lack of horns and the lack of ears, lack of pointy ears that got their attention. Well, this is quite an epic soundtrack for this opening.
Nice! I bet we'll find a use for that. Great find. Keep it.
Oop. Man, they are just creatures everywhere, my goodness. Oh.
Not good! Run for it!
This land of 8 tribes and 3 nations, all blessed by the power of magic. The United Kingdom of Uchronia. The year is 785. Uchronia is shaken to the core by the sudden death of its king. Anxiety breeds dissent among the tribes. Disparities tear them apart, and no mortal mind remembers the heroic tales upon which their land was built. By this story of fantasy, may this faded world be painted anew.
O great seeker, bearer of fantasy empowered, hear my wish and come forth from thy epoch of glory to grant me thy something. The first line was up for much longer than the second.
Whoa, just look!
Whoa.
Get on with it, then! Drop the dog! Hang him dead! Please! I've done nothing wrong! Lying dog! Don't try to deny it! You trample the law for the fun of it!
Let it be known, for misuse of an igniter, you will hang by the neck until dead!
Yeah!
There's no way that crowd was going to listen to anything a Paribus said.
Such a shame. Might you spare some coin? Bless you. Oh,
careful!
Hurry!
Don't you have any street smarts? Come on, kid! Look, we're not tourists here. We gotta stay focused.
Right.
You noticed back on the wagon? You might be the only Elder here, in the whole city even.
Okay, we just got a lot of information. So we are in the kingdom of Uchronia, eh?
Capital's incredible. Just look at all the different tribes. You never see this kind of diversity out in the countryside.
Okay, and so this was another thing. So I'm guessing at the moment, tribes is another way to say species or race in this, at least in the terminology they have here. At least that's what I'm gonna go with for now. Also, so let's see, what did I get from that? Year 795. What was it? 8 tribes and 3 nations. Uchronia is one of the 3, and that's obviously the one with the king who was murdered. So interestingly, what I noticed is apparently that sort of desert area we were just in, that's directly outside the capital. I wonder, is there kind of... Because the environment within the capital here looks a lot different from, you know, the sort of wasteland we were just in. So I'm wondering, is magic needed to maintain that? Because it didn't look like there was a lot of life outside of here. What was that? The person being hanged was a Pasebus? Do I have a log going that far back? I do. Paribus. Parapus. Excuse me. Clearly, Parapus occupy a lower stratum of society here. And misuse of an igniter, that was what was said. That one elf guy, the elf bandit, he had a staff. Now, I was thinking that an igniter, I was thinking maybe that could be another word for a mage or something, but maybe it's actually referring to the staff itself. Because it did sort of focus in on the staff when he used it. Okay. Actually, how far back can I go? This. Oh, here it is. Nice. That's actually really good. That it can... the log is also from the cutscenes. O great seeker, bearer of fantasy empowered, hear my wish, and come forth from thy epoch of glory to grant me thy guidance. Okay. And apparently, we're getting some information from the log that we didn't in the cutscene. This was said by Hythlodius the Fifth. Is there going to be some kind of... Is this a previous monarch, or are we going to get some sort of papacy analog in this world? We did have in that opening before the game started. We did have a guy who was, what was it? Was he called Your Grace or Your Eminence? Although whoever said this didn't sound like that. Eight tribes, 3 nations. United Kingdom of Uchronia. Huh, interesting. Which kingdoms united to form Uchronia? And we have, at least from that world map, assuming it's a world map and not just a map of the, just the local area, or maybe just the one continent, seemed kind of oval-shaped, just a kind of circle, one landmass, and no indication as to exactly how large it is.
Not that it's very balanced. I see more Clamars and Roussants than anyone else.
Calamars, Roussants. I'm guessing it's the horned people and the elf people.
Which means a dopey Elder kid's gonna stick out like a sore thumb. Try to keep your head down, okay?
Surely we could, I don't know, get some fake horns on our headband or something if it's gonna be that much of a problem. Maybe not. Surely, maybe that's not possible for whatever reason.
Hey, did you hear what they're saying about His Majesty? They say it wasn't illness at all. I heard it was foul play, assassination.
Yeah, certainly was.
Careful who hears you say that.
I am into... Now, again, Luis is... I'm trying to think back to what Luis said in that opening cutscene. Clearly, him being involved with bandits definitely paints him in quite a bad light. And he said something like, you know, the United Utopia, which was the vision of the now dead king. He wanted to tear that down. I mean, that certainly doesn't sound good, but I'm curious as to why he thinks that. Is it... I mean, is it the king's dead and there's no prince, there's no heir. I know Luis had horns, and the king had horns, I think. Is Luis part of the royal family in some way? Does he intend to take over, or what? That certainly seemed to be what was being suggested there.
But it's just like the prince, isn't it? They say he was attacked in the dead of night. A war of succession is coming, I tell you.
Sounds like monsters have been prowling the countryside. They're sending the guard out to deal with them. The army's really gone to hell. It's a far cry from when we had Count Luis at the helm, I'll tell you that much.
Hard to see how the nation can come back from this.
We'd not have to ask if the prince was still alive.
Are you two fantasy vaping? Wow. What will they think of next?
The king dead, his son stricken. Are there none left to bear the weight of the crown?
We've done all in our power, but not even the kingdom's best, the saint, could purify this affliction.
Over 10 years he has languished under this curse. How much longer can his body hold out? No doubt his highness would protest. But since he cannot, we have no choice. For the man who cursed his highness and murdered our king, there can be no mercy. I never thought I would have to ask this of you. But there are so few of us left now. There is no one else to turn to. Will you infiltrate the military to deliver a message to our contact there? This is your mission. For all our sakes, you cannot fail.
Okay. Okay, I thought the prince was dead, but that doesn't seem to be the case.
Hey, are you listening?
So the prince has some kind of curse on him, and whatever group is taking care of him, either we are a part of or we are in the employ of. Interesting.
Well, I guess I can't blame you for feeling nostalgic. You and the prince were pretty close.
Oh, so it's not that we're even part of an order or in the employ of, we were actually friends with the prince. Interesting.
Anyway, getting to the capital was only the beginning. Now comes the real high-stakes part. You gotta go get enlisted so you can meet up with our operative. Remember, nobody here knows who we are. Nobody here knows the prince might still have a claim to the throne. That means if we get busted, that's it. Nobody's gonna save us. Step 1. Let's figure out where the recruitment center is. Shouldn't be too hard, considering the need for soldiers.
Well, alright. Interesting that we need to actually join the military to get in touch with a military contact.
So?
RB local map. And Y to talk to Gallica. Or Gallica. Gallica? I wish you'd just say your name.
Whatever will I do?
And we can save our game. Let's do that. Yes, sirree. Okay, what have you to say, Gallica?
All right then.
Okay. So I'm seeing a few symbols here. Assuming the green dot with a line of sight is ours. I see a yellow, but then at the top I see a blinking diamond. I'm gonna assume our objective is the blinking diamond up top. Okay. But let's explore a bit. What have we got? Hello, soldier. I like how they have the, what looks to be the coat of arms on their attire here.
Stop!
accumulator. Double for one of your tribe.
What do you think you're playing at?
Oh yeah, I see it's sucking in something.
But what is there to do now?
That's not what I expected.
That's terribly unfair.
Interesting how there's some dialogue boxes just popping up. So, Elda are not looked, or Elda are looked down upon, and so are the Parapus. I wonder, where do Elda and Parapus line up on the totem pole here?
Oh my, what to do?
Then Elda.
Must be tribal prejudice. Interesting, that is that guard is much nicer than the previous guard we talked to. Sanctifex, Forden, or Count Luis would make the best king. Is there anything to loot or pick up? Sanctifex sounds like a religious title of some sort.
Let's not.
Okay, fine.
That's terribly unfair.
So more talk of rabid monster. Hey, look at these things. Similar to the accumulator. Oh, look at that. There's a big floating thing. So yeah, I'm guessing this whole situation, this whole capital is maintained with magic. Because certainly it didn't look like there's a lot of natural resources around here, outside the capital.
All right then.
Whatever will I do? Oh, come off it.
What will give me the most information? I feel like she may just say a prejudiced thing here. What if I just say I have business here? Sanctism teaches us that the Elda are an evil tribe that defy the teachings, so get back, stay away from me, you fiend. Okay. Clearly there's some, well, we're clearly looked down upon, but it doesn't appear that it's actually illegal for us to be here, considering the guards clearly saw us, and one objected to our presence and the other one didn't, so that's interesting. What'd she say? Clamar in Roag? Count Luis is gone. Or someone said he's not in Grand Trad.
Simply amazing.
Grand Cathedral.
And what is it?
Is that the palace or is that the cathedral? You look like you might be part of the story in some way.
So you.
Does that bother you? Viewing platform. Okay, so that is the cathedral. Oh, you look important too. And you will not speak to me.
An elder? You little bastard, you.
If I may.
Oh. I wasn't done looking around yet.
The new model's out now. I could be out there slinging spells like a master if I had one of those.
I guess that's the big city for you. Everyone and their mother has a magic igniter. So many different types, too.
Yeah, so they are the staves. Or staves. But Gallica, give me the basics here. What is a magic igniter?
What's a magic igniter?
See? There's a couple in the window. Like an instrument plays a tune, an igniter casts magic. Pretty hard to come by out in the countryside. Can't imagine what it's like having to wave around some shiny stick to use magic.
So I did earlier question whether or not fairies were, if she was meant to be a secret, but, you know, flying around openly like this, clearly not, since people aren't really reacting to her. In fact, people seem to be reacting more to him as an Elda.
Me? I can whip out magic anytime I like. And I can even see the Magla in the air. Though, I'm not exactly an archmage.
So Magla is, what would it be? Like mana points or something? Is that the equivalent?
Wonders never cease. A fairy and an Elden child. Are you new to our fair city?
Yes we are, shady woman who would not talk to me before. So you're not in Elda? Because you don't have horns, and I don't see pointy ears. So what's the distinction there?
Well, I suggest you keep a low profile. Trust me when I say you don't want to catch the eyes of the lords and ladies. But I'm getting ahead of myself. I run this humble shop. Are you in the market for an igniter? Here's something that might catch a foreigner's eye. This is modeled after the royal scepter and would make the perfect souvenir.
Royal Scepter. What's that about?
Royal Scepter?
You've really never heard of it. Wow. Where do I even start?
I feel like maybe they should have given our character amnesia, because otherwise he just sounds like he's just completely ignorant of everything in his own world.
A symbol and instrument of the crown's sovereignty, passed down through generations. If you believe the legends, it houses incredible magic, world-shattering power.
And it looks like it has... Hang on, can I... Yes, I can get my mouse cursor here. If you can see, it looks like the center, it almost has like a ribcage looking design, which is interesting.
More practically, you might call it the world's most potent magic igniter. And in the king's hands, it was enough of a deterrent to stave off invasion.
Now he's dead. With no living heir either.
Tragic, isn't it? Kingly magic is of little use without a king. You picked a bad time to visit, boy. I don't know why you're here, but there's trouble brewing.
I'll keep that in mind.
I'll keep that in mind.
A word of caution, then. Your survival is your own responsibility.
Okay.
That was unnecessarily ominous. She has a point, though. We'll need to be careful. Anyway, we don't have time to hang around chatting with the locals. We've got a recruitment office to find.
Well, I'm trying to find it, alright? But I keep getting interrupted by things on the map.
An elder? Here?
Dan.
Oh, that's interesting. So I guess a grayed out text bubble is just indicating you've already talked to that person.
This is a joy!
Rogita Lycaon. Was that the woman we were just speaking to?
Oh.
Hello, soldier. Okay, so it looks like, at least in the capital, Luis has quite, he's looked well upon.
Oh God, grant me guidance.
Forden, that name's come up again.
Oh God, grant me guidance. What am I to do?
The annexed countries. Interesting, interesting. You're giving me things to think about. I appreciate it.
All right then.
I recognize the voice actor of this character. So we can't go...
Oh.
Yeah. Assuming we just can't go anywhere right now.
Hey!
All right then.
Okay, so yeah, on this we have the Igniter store, a church, and an inn. Alright, let's move on.
An elder? Here? Oh. You are.
What do the menus look like here? What's a memorandum? Oh my goodness. How much do we have here? Do we want to... You know what? I do want to... Okay, let's finish up... When we get to the end of this episode, or at least... Yeah, here's a plan. Whenever we get to where I believe is a good time to end the episode, then I'll sit down... What am I saying? I'm already sitting. Then we'll read over those different entries. You know, that could make a good way to end each episode, where I just read up on if there are any new entries. And, oh, they even have a dedicated button there for the memorandum. What else is there? What's story? What do I see there? Cutscenes, maybe? Okay. I'm someone who makes tons of saves out of paranoia. 16 save slots. Okay, let's go. Regolith Grand Cathedral. Yeah, I'm really thinking we should have maybe had a disguise of some kind. I have to think. I mean, unless there's some magic way to detect. But, you know, couldn't we... I mean, we already have a headband. Could we not attach some, I don't know, papier-mâché horns? Or... I know that wouldn't be very convincing, but just something. Hiding your tribe is only going to make it worse. Okay, so if we did try to fake it, you're saying that would be futile and they'd discover it anyway, and then that would be even worse than them just knowing we're in Elda in the first place? Okay.
All right.
Okay.
All right then.
Looks like there's...
All right then.
So we were just in Sun Lumio Street, and now we're at the Grand Cathedral, although I don't see it. Oh, there it is. Okay.
Really now?
Yeah, so where is Luis? Not in the capital. Probably orchestrating something. You sir have a box on your head.
Hey, sorry.
Bye-bye now.
It's a horse with big pointy ears.
I'm out of ideas.
All right then.
I'm out of ideas.
Katarina?
I'm out of ideas.
A
What's wrong, though?
Hang on, what are they called again?
I'm out of ideas.
I can't do it. There's a Parapus bounty hunter named Katarina. That wasn't the lady we talked to, was it? Oh!
That must be the recruitment center.
No! I needed to look around more.
I'll let you take it from here. It should be pretty straightforward. Oh, and if they start asking questions, just be as honest as you can. Lying will only make us more suspicious. So long as you don't compromise the mission, you're fine. Good luck in there. Nothing dead.
Okay, well, give me a second. I want to look around a bit. No!
Okay, you got this.
Okay, we're here.
A blue blood, are you? The army's no place for velvet-swaddled lordlings. Why are you here? Perhaps your noble family collapsed under its own weight. Is that it?
Lineage seems a strange measure for a soldier's worth. I'm looking to enlist. Is that enough for you or not?
An uppity one, aren't you? Fine, lordling. Welcome to the Guard, where it'll be your privilege to die screaming and bloody in service of your country. But mark my words, war will turn your arrogance to piss. When your corpse is plucked from the mud, do try to look patriotic.
Rousing words, Captain. You think threats will buy loyalty? No wonder nobody respects the Guard anymore. But I'm here now, so perhaps the kingdom isn't a lost cause.
Insolent pup! You will learn your place.
Don't. The healers have enough on their plates already.
Be gone, and be thankful you're still in one piece. All right, next. Hurry it up. An elder? I thought your kind was long gone. Age 18. An orphan, too. The army can always use more of those. So, what brings you to enlist?
Okay. We have haughty captain here. We need, and we're in the middle of the capital, which is very anti-us. She said we should try to be honest. I feel like saying this would make him upset. I feel like this would make him upset. I feel like this would be at least the answer he would be most expecting, right? So let's try this.
I need the money.
Pragmatic, if nothing else. But I suppose a vagrant like you could use the work. So, what can you bring to our beloved corps? Any skills to speak of?
That's a good question, because I have no idea what our guy can do. I've never been in a fight. Oh, man. Oh, is this... Do you think this is like a character creation thing, or no? Because sometimes games do this, right? Where they have you do a questionnaire, and that turns out to be a kind of character creation. Should I be operating under that assumption? If I'm operating under that assumption, I want to go sharp mind. I'm interested in sort of magic in this world.
I've got a sharp mind.
Yes, you and every unschooled troglodyte. Right, last order of business. Make your mark or sign your name if you're actually literate.
Okay, we're actually gonna... Okay, name of the story's protagonist. Well, I don't know what kind of... Well, we've seen some names. We saw some of those women before. There's Brigitte and Catherine. Or Katerina or something. So what should we name our guy? Trying to think here. Okay, I have a kind of thought. Let's see. I'm thinking maybe something. I'm trying to think of something. I don't know why I'm getting this sense, but I'm trying to think of like something Celtic. Like maybe Colm, maybe Cormac. Maybe Kalen. How about Colm? And I mean, we don't have that many characters, right? Is it just... Yeah, so... Oh, wait. Well, that's interesting. If you hold it down, the letters do go off the screen, and you have to hit backspace to all the times you did that. Interesting. Yeah, let's just do a single name, I guess. Or can we do... I guess you can do... If you wanted to do 2 names, I guess you could. Yeah, let's go with Colm. It's pretty simple. Kinda unassuming.
You know your letters, do you? We'll get some use out of you yet. All right, lad. Welcome to the Guard.
Yes!
I'm sure you heard about the monster sightings, so stay sharp out there. We're short-handed as it is, so be a good lad and try not to get killed on your first deployment. You can pick up your kit at reception. Standard issue guardsman armor and igniter. Kingdom property. So if you break it, it's coming out of your commission. On your way now. Up to. Next.
Okay.
All right then.
Can I just leave?
Wait!
No. Okay.
What's the world coming to?
Yeah, it definitely looks like we're gonna have an uphill battle here. Count Luis has an army built on merit, huh?
Look at that.
Whatever.
So Reeve is the currency. And you, guy who had a portrait in his dialogue. Are you really a noble?
Well,
interesting. That's quite a idealistic thing to do. And this is the... So they said the guard, but... Is it the guard or the army? Or are they both? Or what's the... What's the distinction there, if there is any?
I heard they get sightings.
What? Of those huge monsters? You think that's why we're low on soldiers? Wish they'd have told us that. What do they call them? Something like, human...
Next!
Hume? Hume what?
Another Clamar. Wait. No. You don't look like the others. Surely not. An elder? It's the first of your kind I've seen.
Move it. There's a priority around here.
Roussant. So Roussant are elvish people.
We're arming squires and children with igniters now. Waste of good gear. It's better off in my hands. Give it here.
Brute force, crude insults. The world is yours for the taking.
Care to say that again, boy?
We all have our reasons to enlist. Now get back in line.
Oh, another high and mighty Clamar, is it? You think your pretty words will measure up to pure Roussant strength?
Oh, forget the tribes. This is a matter of pride. Now, you owe us both an apology.
Come on, no fighting in the ranks.
Sorry for making a scene. You all right?
Thanks. Interesting that we're getting some backup from a nobleman. Although he's from the country, he said, the countryside, not the capital, so perhaps things are different there.
Thanks. You didn't have to do that.
Just felt like stepping in. Don't worry about it. Well, see you around. Try not to die out there.
Yeah, you too.
Don't make my job any harder, please. Here, your igniter. These days, most come with their own magna crystals. So with practice, anyone can use magic. To an extent, anyway. It's not the sort of thing you can master in a day. For now, newbies like you best focus on surviving.
Oh, okay.
And take this too. Protect it with your life.
A map.
Wow, that's a real map. It's dangerous to even chart the wilds, but this is full of details. Holy...
Listen up, striplings. My name is Captain Klinger, and as of this moment, you miserable lot are under my command. I'm sure you've all heard about our forces being tied up with the funeral proceedings for His Majesty. But if you think you're on cushy security detail, think again. First, you will be deployed to a fortress at the northern border, where you will be trained into true guards. Our veterans there will teach you the one thing you need to master if you're to survive. Pain.
Perfect. That's exactly where our contacts hold up.
Enjoy tonight's sleep, because it's the last full night's rest you'll get. Dismissed!
Okay.
Look at all the other recruits. They really are desperate for new blood.
What was that book that that bandit tried to take that we did not want to give up? Do we still have that?
Oh, right. I know you don't know what our contact looks like yet, but he'll know you by your sword. He'll also know right away why we've come. And don't worry, I'll recognize him. Well, the charming captain is probably right. We should get some rest before tomorrow. Hey, you awake?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm awake.
Sorry to bug you.
Oh, there's the book right there.
Look, I just have a lot on my mind. Can't seem to fall asleep.
Again, it is interesting to me that, you know, we've had plenty of comments on him being an Elda, but there have been no comments whatsoever from anyone about our fairy friend.
I'd heard about what it was like in the capital, but still, when you hear and see all this prejudice out in the open, it's a lot. You okay?
Doesn't get easier.
Never gets easier.
Yeah, I could tell. Try to put it behind you, okay?
I mean, is it going to be something like only we can see her?
Some people are even saying it's the lesser tribe's fault that the monsters are showing up at all. These are the same kind of people who burned down your village, remember?
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, but still, the prince was kind to take you in. He cared more about who you were than what you were. I can see why you'd want to repay him. Oh, speaking of, he's the one who gave you that book, right? Can I see it?
Sure, I'm curious about it too.
Sure, I guess.
I gotta say, I've been curious. Thanks. It's what you call a fantasy story, right? So it's a fantasy world made up by the author. The prince loved those kinds of stories. Okay, let's see. It says the young traveler was amazed by the world he saw. In this world, there is only one tribe. All people accept each other, and no soul is born into discrimination. Wow. So not even any fairies? I guess less differences means less to argue over. In such a world, there is no need for sorcery. A megapolis is built through learning and labor. Towers of glass that reach the heavens. Safe nights with no dark shadows. Busy streets well traveled. And in the laws of these emotionally satisfied people, it reads, all lives are equal. Whoa. I see. No magic, no tribal conflict. And equality for all? It really does sound like a fantasy. But it's strange to feel envious of a fictional world. Hey, are you asleep already? You know how hard it is for me to turn these pages on my own? Well, guess I'll just read more later. Good night.
Record the events thus far. Sure. Arbor's Day.
Shouldn't you be resting? I'm fine. In fact, I'm glad we have this chance to talk. I've been reading, and I hope that someday we can make our kingdom like the place in this book. You said it was some kind of fantasy novel, didn't you? Our lives are decided at birth, by tribal purity, or by the differences that make us who we are. I don't want that to be the world we live in. The Elder here are a perfect example. If you'd not sheltered me, I would never have survived. And yet, they burned your home down. It's tragic, and no one should have to suffer so. Someone needs to fix... You okay? Don't push yourself so hard. Reality is much too cruel. I know that. But I'll fight it. I'll fight to the end. I'm a prince. But I need to be a hero. One worthy of the throne. A hero? One who can lead. A beacon who will pierce the darkness when all seems lost. My father taught me that. In his stories, the kingdom was full of legendary heroes. So I can't give up. In my ideal world, people can believe in their future. Their birth doesn't matter. Not that I expect it will be easy. I believe in you. Familiar words. When I'm down, when I struggle, you're always there to help me through it. Let's do it. You'll be a hero. Trust me. I won't give up either. Trust me.
Until arrival at the northern border fort, one day remains.
Let's see.
Okay. Wow, look at this. Oh boy. Kind of hard to gauge. Oh, that is a man kraken. I'm curious exactly how many locations are going to be on here. So yeah, it is general like an oval, except at the bottom here where we have a big bay area. Or depending on how large this body of water is, more like a sea maybe. Royal capital Grand Chad, capital of the Kingdom of Uchronia. Citizens of every class and social status reside here, but their spheres of life are clearly divided by numerous districts.
Let's see.
This place, hold on.
Let's see.
This place here.
Fortress built to defend Grand Trad during the Annex War. After long disuse, it is now manned due to frequent monster sightings. Okay, so it makes a bit more sense to me how we have to join the military to get in touch with our contact, because if he's stationed in a fort, it's probably not as likely a random citizen or individual, especially now that we know that how Eldas are seen, probably not going to be able to just simply walk up and enter the fort. So, wait, if I hit... Oh. Well, yeah, let's just have that on.
This place here. Hold on.
Let's see here. Hey, don't forget. Right? Let's see here. Hey, don't forget. Okay then.
Okay. Just introducing the world map, alright.
The carriage transporting the new recruits arrives at its destination. The northern border fort. The towering fortress was built during the Annex War in the mountains at the edge of the territory. Even now, soldiers are sent there for its strategic importance to the royal capital and to combat the rising waves of monsters. Fresh-faced soldiers disembark from their coaches at the foot of a steep ascent to the fort, the first of many uphill battles.
Oh, finally. Can hardly feel my legs.
Listen well, you lackwits. The battlefield is no place to sit on your asses, and the border front is always a battlefield. The call to arms could sound at any time. Stand to, curs. You have the honor to serve at the command of Captain Klinger, war hero, tactician, master of arms. When I earned rank in the trenches, forged in the blood of my
Spare us this drivel. Say, friend, I'm curious. What is it about that book that's captivated you so?
Well, this guy has been sympathetic to us. Of the two, I feel like this would be maybe a bit more interesting to say.
It tells of a world united as one tribe.
No discrimination, eh? A far cry from our world, then. So it's describing a better world. A utopia, perhaps. I'm something of a reader myself, but that's not like any book I've read. You know, when the late king took the throne, he was quite the idealist himself. He made grand claims about unifying the people under his rule. Never managed to do it in the end, of course. Reform takes more than high-minded, eloquent speeches. Maybe he was too blind to see that himself.
Listen to you. A babe with his first sword thinking he knows better than a king. Keep your mouth shut. No one cares what you think.
Roussant soldier. So you have big elf ears, right? Wouldn't that kind of helmet be very uncomfortable? Wouldn't your ears be kind of stuffed up in there?
Nobody asked you.
Something to say? Go on. I'm listening.
Oh man. I'm not sure he would want us to apologize for him. And that's kind of putting him down. He stood up for us when we were in line to get our gear. Let's back him up.
If it's a fight you want, draw your blade.
Okay, that's a bit that's a bit extreme though.
Didn't think you'd just challenge me straight out. You've got guts for a lesser tribesman. Well, Flamar, I'll let it go this time. But only because I like your friend. Next time, keep your complaining to yourself.
Okay. It worked.
That's the last thing I need. Though I suppose I deserved it in part, speaking ill of the dead and all. My mouth tends to get ahead of my thoughts sometimes. Although, I'm glad a bad habit seems to have drawn us together. Oh, never got round to an introduction. I'm Stroll. Leon Stroll, son of the Count of Harlia. And you are?
Colm.
That's my name.
I have that right? It's got a certain weight to it. For what it's worth, my title doesn't mean much. Here and now, we're peers and equals.
By the skin of my teeth! Now, where was I? Right, as for you, fresh meat.
Someone, help!
Oh my.
Is that a soldier? Hey, speak to me, man. What happened?
Listen. Stay on guard. It's too...
Not one of mine. Must be one of the fort's guard. Those damn vultures across the border. They must have heard about the king's death. Anyway, to the fort. Double time. I'll stay behind to see to the poor bastard's wounds.
You want us to go on ahead? Alone? Shouldn't we at least send a team back to ask...
I knew fear would take you at the first step. You want to turn tail? Are you a traitor to the cause? The Guard has no place for cowards. You are part of His Majesty's Royal Army. Swallow your fear. Fight with pride. And we'll all have medals this time tomorrow.
He's right. We're warriors. Up there is our first chance at glory and riches. Damned if I'm gonna waste it. Let's go.
Well, this seems like a terrible idea.
Well, I suppose this is what we signed up for. Onward, to the fort then.
Hey, I've got a bad feeling about this. It's hard to explain, but it's like there's a stench in the air. and it's getting stronger.
Where'd you get that little... See, you have an addition to your headband, Gallica.
Hey, did something happen? Wait, is that a fairy? Did you catch it yourself?
Okay, so people can see it. Or see her. She's with me.
She's with me.
Yes, and I have a name, by the way. It's Gallica.
Gallica, okay, I guessed correctly.
So you travel together? You've stayed well hidden for quite a while.
Well, I didn't want anyone making a fuss. But we've got bigger problems right now. I can't shake this feeling. We gotta be careful.
Agreed. I'll follow orders, but I'm not about to let this armchair general send me to my death. Let's take a moment, then head in once we're prepared. I assume you know how to use an igniter properly?
I'm not so sure. He's never used one before. I mean, he's a commoner, so not much chance to.
Fair enough. Well, just stay behind me and you'll be all right. I swear I won't let you die. I'm with you.
Hey, new party member.
Oh, this is bad. I didn't think you'd actually have to fight anyone. I just hope our contact...
Hang on.
Okay. Let's keep our guard up and hope...
You have a really tiny sword. That's funny. It's not just she added a little helmet-looking part to her headband, but she has a really tiny sword. She has to use that at some point in the story, right? Okay, I'm just gonna wait for that, because that's funny.
Okay.
Our ally is inside here. Oh, he's probably gonna... Let me guess, the fort's under attack. I mean, I see flame up there at the top, so not good. And he's probably gonna be dead or something, right? And then, I don't know, we're gonna find... He's gonna have a information or letter or something on him that indicates where we need to go next. Is that how it's gonna play out?
Actually...
I see.
Okay, Oh, we can only save... We can only save at the, in the safe areas, huh? Well, you know what? We're gonna... I think I'm actually gonna call it here because we're getting close to 2 hours, and I'm getting the sense that we're gonna be getting into actual combat, and that's going to be a whole process with tutorials and all that. So let's actually... Well, first, let me take a quick break, and then when I get back, I'm going to read some of this memorandum. So 1 second, please. Okay, I'm back. So let's go ahead... Let's go ahead and read these entries here, and then we'll call it for the day. Magic. A general term for the technique that consumes power to cause phenomena that bend the laws of nature. It has a wide range of applications from modest use in daily life to destructive power in war. However, as magic igniters, which require a state permit for ownership and use, are required for people to be able to use magic. Many cannot. Okay, that's a lot of commas. You could take it, however, many cannot wield magic, or you could say, as magic igniters are required for people to be able to use magic. Yeah, that's a... Sorry, that was just a bit awkward for me to... However, as magic igniters, which require a state permit for ownership and use, are required for people to be able to use magic, many cannot wield magic. There you go. That took me a second. Okay, Magla. A technical term for magic power that serves as the basis for magic. Oops. There are varying amounts in all things found in nature, including people, plants, and animals. Because Magla sometimes crystallizes in areas of high concentration, Some scholars theorize that magla may be physical particles too small to be seen with the naked eye. Oh, and is that a picture there? Interesting. Magla crystal, a crystallized cluster of magla that forms naturally in places where high concentrations are left to fester. Though scholars have recently developed methods to create them artificially, the color of the crystals depends on the formation process and its impurities. High purity natural crystals are indispensable in in producing high performance in igniters. As a result, some value them higher than gems and precious metals. Areas where crystals are abundant are often claimed in the name of the crown as mining sites. Igniters. A tool that acts as a conduit of magic power, without which people cannot perform magic. To own or use them, one must obtain a permit from the kingdom by passing a test, with some exceptions, such as those serving in the state army. Igniters can be costly depending on power and specifications, and purchasing them is akin to buying land or housing. Huh. Gauntlet Runner. I don't remember this ever coming up so far. Oh, I see. Often called runners as shorthand, a general term for magic-powered semi-automated vehicles designed for traversing wastelands and either overcoming or circumventing local wildlife threats or magical phenomena. Excuse me. It's getting late. Traveling the wilds on foot or even in a lightly armed carriage has historically been incredibly dangerous, making long-distance trips a life-threatening risk. Royal Scepter. An ornate cane-like scepter passed down through generations of the Ukrainian royal family, proof of their right to rule. A magical instrument of extraordinary capabilities, powerful enough to induce natural disasters. It can only be wielded by the king, and the popularity termed royal magic it commands serves both as a pillar of the king's authority and a deterrent to war. Royal magic. A powerful magic passed down through generations of Ukrainian kings, invoked through a unique magic igniter called the Royal Scepter. It is tremendous power that can bring about anything the king desires. Anything, huh? There are several records of its use in the long history of the kingdom, be it for revolutionary or oppressive aims, but each is described as a cataclysmic disaster. It continues to represent a strong deterrent power to the royal family and the kingdom. Music and magic, an unusual variety of magic that causes the listener to become aware of their state of mind through the form of sound and music, as it is a modest form of magic with seemingly no utility on the battlefield. It is considered a meaningless, trifling skill in society, and thus it is rarely used. I don't know, man. If I could just have background music happening all the time, depending on my state of mind and what's going on, that'd be kind of cool. Although I probably would want the option to turn it off. Kingdom of Ukrainia, a union of allied kingdoms, spans the kingdom of Ukrainia, the Principality of Oceania, and the Principality of Montario. Ukrainia being the suzerain, with its king holding authority over all three kingdoms. The original King Hythlodaeus was this United Nations' first ruler, and is often referred to as the founder king. Okay, so that Hythlodaeus the Fifth we saw was indeed one of the kings. Royal Capital Royal Capital Grand Trad. The nation's largest city, the capital of both the Kingdom of Ukrainia and the United Kingdoms at large. Also referred to as the royal capital, being the home to the palace and the seat of the royal bloodline, known for its solid ramparts, a site which has long been emblematic of the city itself. However, when the massive regolith Grand Cathedral was built, the building's grandeur became the new symbol of Grand Trad. No mention of the vast wasteland that surrounds it. Northern border fort. Defensive fort on the northern edge of Ukrainian territory, also bordering the country of Oceania to the west. Built before the kingdom's unification, this old stronghold has outlived its political and strategic relevance and is most often used as a training ground for new soldiers. Okay, culture. Fantasy novel. The book Colm carries with him. It's a memoir-style novel depicting a country with neither magic nor an ocean of tribes, where people are not discriminated by birth, quite literally a fantasy world. Sanctism. A monotheistic religion devoted to the worship of one God, the Almighty. The religion of majority across the United Kingdoms, its sanctors preach that uttering the prayer Closer I with one's whole heart will reach God, bringing salvation. It is the state religion, and the sanctist hierarchy is deeply intertwined with the kingdom's politics. Currently, the crown theocracy is at the heart of the kingdom's political affairs. Sure, they're going to be brought up later. Recruitment centers are located in every city for people to apply to join the army. For those without family or means, volunteering is one of the quickest ways to earn money or social credibility. Recruitment is not always open, but concerns about public safety due to the sudden death of the king as well as monster outbreaks in the area has led to an unusually long recruitment period in the royal capital. So it does seem like the guard is part of or a subset of the army. Okay. Forden. Okay, it was this guy. Astavum Forden, the 78th Sanctifex of the Sanctus Church. The state religion of the United Kingdom, he holds the highest authority within Sanctism and as such is the leader of the crown theocracy. Despite hailing from the Roeg tribe, rather than the more common Clamar or Rusant tribes, he enjoys a broad base of support. In the turmoil following the death of the previous king, many view him as something of an interim king, given his position as the leader of the moderate faction. So, what's the over-under? What are the odds that the church and the whole religious sanctism is all just going to be depicted evil in this game? I mean, considering it seems to already be... It's already been told to us that sanctism... I mean, it's not mentioned here. It's not mentioned here, but we've heard from several people on the street that sanctism specifically says, well, for one, that Elda are evil, which we are, and that... you know, some tribes are better than others, so that's already lining them up to be a force that we are opposed to. Although it does say this Forden character is perhaps not from one of the higher tribes, and he leads something called the Moderate faction, so who knows? Maybe there'll be some kind of conflict within the church. Although, you know, it's still not entirely clear. Leon Stroll, a young man of the Clamar tribe, met at the local recruitment center in Grand Trad, a genial youth who values justice with a good head on his shoulders. He comes from a noble family but seems to have complex circumstances that led him to enlist in the army, typically a commoner profession. Yeah, you'd think he'd be able to buy a commission and become an officer or something. Though new recruits grumble at being ordered to refer to each other by their surnames in order to prevent overfamiliarity, Stroll doesn't seem to mind. Gallica, a fairy who accompanies Colm on his journey, doubling as his chaperone for his special mission. Her diminutive size excludes her from participating physically in battle, although she carries a very tiny sword, just in case. Her special fairy traits allow her more proficiency than Colm when it comes to sensing magla and knowing magic. Though she can become heated when her personal values are tested, she is a reassuring travel companion. Prince of Uchronia. The son and heir to the throne of King Hithlodius V, That's interesting. I'll have to look back at that cutscene. Because in that one cutscene, where the log said it was King Hythlodaeus V speaking, that didn't sound like the old man in bed. Maybe it was some... No. I don't know. More than 10 years ago, a mysterious attack in the royal palace left him afflicted with a deadly curse. Probably Luis. The curse took its toll on his body, and though he bravely endured treatment, his recovery was interrupted several years later when he and his closest aides suddenly vanished from the castle without a trace. The king exhausted all possible means to find him, but was ultimately unsuccessful. He was formally declared deceased 3 years ago, and a royal funeral was held in his honor. I see. So, people think he's dead. I see. That's why there was some confusion from me when he was shown not to be dead. And then we have 4 of the 8 tribes. Parapus tribe. A tribe recognizable by bestial ears and a tail. There are many variations in their hair and skin colors, including cold-colored skin not seen in other... Cold-colored skin? What does that mean? Cold-colored. Cold-colored skin not seen in other tribes. They are physically adept and often honest with their emotions, giving them a reputation for hedonism, for better or for worse. They are drawn to parties and festivities, and while this happy-go-lucky charm is often to their credit, it can also be seen as recklessness. And it doesn't really say it here, but at least from what we saw in the capital, they're seen as one of the lower tribes. At least that's the sense I got. Maybe that's not completely true. Rusant tribe. One of the most populous tribes of the United Kingdoms, second only to the Clamar. Long pointed ears are their most distinguishing feature. They often boast excellent physique, which has given them a superior martial prowess. Rusant women are stronger than most men of other tribes. Wow, okay. Many inevitably work in the military and often hold key offices. They are considered as influential as the Clamar, and the 2 tribes are sometimes called the prevailing tribes. Interesting. Okay, so it's those 2 that are at the top. It's kind of funny because in a lot of sort of fantasy fiction, elves are kind of seen as almost dainty or fragile. But here, no, they are the more physical. Interesting. Okay, the Clamar tribe composes the largest population in all the Allied kingdoms. Their most distinctive features are horns that grow on both sides of their head. The Clamars have a broad diversity of facial and body types, which has essentially made them average. The Ukrainian royal family are Clamar, and members of this tribe hold a majority of important positions within the government, leading many Clamars to internalize the belief that they are the kingdom's most preeminent tribe. Okay. Elder tribe. The 9th tribe. Oh, okay, so it's not 8 tribes, it's 9. Except the Elda, at least from what we understand, are close to extinction, maybe? Okay. The 9th tribe, distinct from the commonly known 8 tribes, they're condemned by the Sanctus Church for inheriting a dangerous magic heretical to the teachings of the Church. Now, that will surely come up again at some point. Their population is so small that to even see one in public is rare, and they face greater discrimination than any other tribe. In fact, many outside the main cities don't believe they exist. But what, I mean, that one... The lady who owned the Igniter shop, what was she? On the street, there were people that I think they called her Brigitte. I think. Because she didn't have horns, and I don't think she had long, pointy ears. So what distinguishes... What's the difference between her and our guy. Because the description here doesn't give a physical description as the other, like, you know, for these three tribes, you know, we have, you know, beast folk, elvish, and then just horned humans. But we don't get a... Because it wasn't the heterochromia that tipped this guy off. He said, it, you know, he looked at his ears and the lack of horns. Is that it? Don't know. I don't know. Okay, so I'm gonna be calling it here. 2 hours, yeah. And again, for the time being, I'm probably only be going to do 1 episode a week. Maybe, and again, maybe more than one if I have the time and inclination to do so, but once a week is what I'm going to be promising. And also, because I'm waiting for when I specifically have the time to do this, that should mean longer episodes than in previous Let's Plays that I have done. So, yeah, so you should think this episode is around 2 hours. That's probably what I'll shoot for. You know, give or take a bit. But, yeah. I can't save from here, so I'll probably... You know, I'm just going to exit here. I'll load an earlier save and, you know, just skip to when I get to this point. So, yeah, that sounds like a good plan. In any case, it feels good to be back. It feels good to have a game plan, and I don't feel like I'm being rushed through something. I feel like I can take my time now that I know I'm not. Now that I'm waiting for when I have a lot of time, and I'm not going to be having to record every day or every other day, I can sit back, take my time, and go through this. I will say if. You know, I'm not sure many people will make it this far, but if you are interested in giving me tips or maybe saying something I've missed, please don't give me any sort of spoilers, but, you know, if you want to give me a gameplay tip, I think I'm okay with that. You know, I'm not... Again, I think this is a JRPG. I've never actually had a battle yet, but if you want to... If I'm screwing something up and you want to give me a tip for gameplay, that's fine. And, you know, it's still very early on, so I'm not sure what the structure of the story or the, you know, I don't know if there's going to be, I don't know what, like side quests or something. If it's possible to, if I'm going to miss something like that, you know, you could let me know if I'm going to miss something, and you can try to describe it in a way that, again, hopefully doesn't spoil something. Yeah. Yeah. Alrighty. Let's call it there. I've been the Worm. This has been Metaphor ReFantazio. I hope you're all doing well, and I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.